Hey folks, Cadroll Hunter here. I got a box of nickels and I'm pretty excited about this one, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, this is James and you're watching my channel Cadroll Hunter, and that's right, we got a box of customer wrap nickels. Now it's been a little bit harder for me to get coins, so I've had to go several times to a couple different banks to get enough to do a full box hunt. One of the bundles that I got here, I think these ones in the middle, they all seem to be a bit short. I think they're at least short one or two each, but they all seem to be older nickels, at least nickel composed nickels, so pre-81 or pre-82. I saw a couple of Queen Elizabeth Laureate Portrait Enders, a 63 and a 64. So that's a really encouraging sign. I didn't see any newer ones on any of the ends. Although I didn't see any 12-sided edges that I could easily see from the ISO. We don't really know. We just got to dig into these to find out, but I suspect we might have a lot of older nickel composition 5-cent pieces here. So let's dive in. First, of course, we know we're looking for some spots in our album, so we want to find some older King George VI nickels in here that we could fill some spots with. And we'll have a look at the album at the end. It's looking really, really good. It's really just some of the older ones that we need to get in that album. So let's see if we find anything that will fill those holes and maybe upgrade something. Okay, quick start. First roll, first find. We got ourselves a 1964 Queen Elizabeth Laureate Portrait. We'll just scope it really quick to see if it's the extra waterline. You can really see it by the naked eye, by the designer's initials, and it's not. But we'll throw it up just for funsies and see that there is no extra waterline, that die crack by the KG, the designer's initials. So, but we've got a first find here, a 1964 in our first roll. That's a great start. Roll number 3, and we've got a commemorative. It's our 2017 with that interesting looking beaver on there. Pretty good condition, just slight little bit of wear, but that's a good find. Same roll, we're always checking our 1990s to see if we've got that bare belly die deterioration, but we don't, or that over polished die, I suppose. But that's not it right there, but there might be one in that box. We'll find out. Okay, roll number 4 is our first of those clear plastic rolls that I was mentioning that look like they've got older coins. The first one's 74, then an 81. There's a really nice looking 1980, and right behind it, another 81. And an 82, which is not nickel, so we'll separate that out. So we've definitely got some coins for the nickel cup, but we'll want to see if any of these might upgrade. That's got some significant wear on it, so that's not going to be an upgrader, I don't think. But if we're lucky, we might find something in here, and these all look like edges from around those 70s and 80s. We'll see. Just going through that roll, here's a really nice looking 1986, so we'll check that. But we're finding lots of nickel composed nickels here, and just a handful of ones that are copper nickel. And so, but nothing yet in before 1965. So we'll keep on looking for those. That roll had 3 1965s, and I've just checked them all now, and they're all the common small bead variety where we see basically these small beads. The large bead, we'd see a large bead right in the middle between these two eyes here. And that's not what we're looking for in terms of the rare variety. But we did a pretty good job at in one roll. I think we only had 1 or 2 in the nickel cup. So if this continues, we might actually fill the nickel cup in a box, something I've never done before. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We don't really know what's in the box until we open these rolls. Roll 5, lots more for the nickel cup, a couple to check against the album, but I'm bringing you in because we got another Laureate Portrait. This one is a 1963. Roll number 6, we got a pretty nice looking 1968. We'll set aside and check against the album. Roll number 9, we're going to get our second 1964. And once again, it is not going to be the extra waterline. Roll 10 is going to have a Laureate Portrait Ender. This isn't one that I had looked at, and so this is a good little surprise. It's going to be a 63 or a 64, we know, because it's got that round or smooth edge. It's not the 12-sided. So this one is another 1964, and we can see again, no extra waterline. Very last coin of roll number 11 is going to be another 1964. So we're going to have something in roll number 13 because I see a dime at the end. So we'll put that down and find out what we got. All right, it's just going to be a common 2005, nothing special there, but 10 cents on the board here means we're up 5 cents, and we're going to need to be up because many of these rolls have been short 1 or 2. So we got to make up for it somehow. Roll 15, so far everything is 1970s or earlier, and we've got an older one here. This one is a 1963. Just about to lay roll 16 down, and I can see we have a 12-sided edge by my thumb here. Can you see that? So let's take a peek at what we've got here. It is a 1961 with some green stuff on it, but that's another good find. 1961, our first of the hunt. Same roll, and we found ourselves a low mint 1991. This one is in pretty decent shape, so that's a great find as well. Roll number 19, and we're going to have another 12-sided edge here, and it's a 1962. One of the things we can check on the 1962 is if it's got any doubling on that date. We'll check it under the scope. Well, that looks like a pretty normal 1962. If it had doubling, we would see it probably at the base of the 2. You'd see it here. You might see a little bit in there. This is not it. So we'll keep our eyes open for that. But we got another older laureate portrait for the board. Just cracked into roll number 20. It's another one of those clear plastic rolls with mostly older coins. But there was a relatively new one under the scope there in the roll that I put under the scope, a 1990. It's actually in really nice condition. And when we look at that beaver, look at what we've got. We have got the 1990 bare belly beaver. You can see there that dye polishing has erased the fur. That is a fantastic find. This one is in pretty nice condition. And so we'll flip that one up. That's a great addition to my collection. It's been a while since I found one, and this is one of my favorite varieties to find, as you likely know if you've been watching my channel. A 1990 bare belly. Awesome. So we're just 20 rolls in, and we have filled that nickel cup. I'm going to have to get another one out because I'm sure we've got more in some of these rolls here. That's all fine and well, of course, but what we'd really love to find is a King George VI. If we could find a King George V, that would be amazing. So we're going to keep on going here with the rest of this box. Roll number 23, and we're going to get another 1964 laureate portrait. Roll 24, so far it is all nickel from the 60s and 70s, another older roll, and here we have a 1964, no extra waterline, but that's another one for the board. Same roll, a little further back, another one here. This time it's a 1963. And we're going to get one more in that roll. This one got some scratches on it, another 1964. Roll 25, this time we've got another 1963 with a bit of gunk on it. Roll number 27, we've got an older Elizabeth here. Let's see what we've got. It's another 1961. Same roll, and even though we've got tons in the 70s here in our nickel cups, we finally found our first key date low mintage 1970, and that's a great find. Roll 30 is going to bring us a pretty nice 1963. That would be our 5th 1963 of the hunt so far. And just a little further back, a 1964. We're into roll number 33, and I'm just going to dump these out in a second, but I can see we've got at least 2 12-sided edges in here. So this is another one of those rolls that is some older stuff. We haven't got anything in the 50s yet, so that would be really cool if we got something in the 50s. We've got 61, 62, 63, 64. We want to find something older than that for sure. Well, we are going to have something older. Have a look at that. It is a 12-sided King George VI. We've got a King George VI in the box. We're going to have to flip it over to see what it is. And it is a 1950. That is awesome. And here is that second 12-sided, and it is reverse facing, and we can see the date. It is a 1959. So we got 2 in the 50s in this roll. We hadn't had anything yet, and that's not a bad looking 1959. And it's our first 50s laureate portrait of the hunt. Well, we're more than halfway through the box, and we have only just now found in roll number 34, our first foreign, our first American, and it is a 1983 out of Denver. It took us a little while to get our first American. We often find a lot more than this, but every roll is different. You never know. And this one's actually in pretty decent shape. And one thing to note is that in 1983, The Mint didn't make any mint sets, and so it is hard to find a nicer 1983, and this one actually looks pretty nice. So I'm going to set that aside for sure. This might upgrade in my album, but that's definitely a keeper. Very next roll, looks like we're on a bit of a streak now because we've got our second US nickel. This one is a 1977. Roll 40 is going to give us a find. We got another laureate portrait. This one is another 63. And just a couple of coins behind that, we've got another low mint key date 1970. That's really cool. Two 1970s in one box. And very last coin of that roll, this would have been one of the enders that I saw, a 1963. That was the end that was facing out. This was that roll. I think there might be one more ender that I saw if we haven't already opened it. Roll 41, we have another 1964 here. And so that is great. But I saw when I laid this down, we have another 12-sided edge. So what have we got? It is a 1960. Same roll, another 1964 with a bit of the ring of death on it. Wouldn't it be great to find a 1964 extra waterline? Let me know in the comments if you have one, if you've ever found one. I haven't. I know a couple of people who have, and apparently they're still out there. Still something I'm waiting for. That's a bucket lister for me. We're at roll number 43, and this one has a 1964 ender, and it looks like it's going to be a full roll of nickel. There's a 79 on the other end. I'll bring you in if we find anything else interesting. Actually, I can see a 12-sided edge right there. So we're going to have something in this roll for sure. So our 12-sided edge is going to be a pretty beat up 1962. Pretty rough shape. Roll number 45, we've got a 1996. We're going to want to check it, of course, to see if it's that attached 6. This is not. There are two varieties. There's a near 6 and a far 6. This looks like the near 6. That 6 is pretty close to the D. I'll put a link in the video description below and up above here to a recent hunt I had where I found the attached 6, which also exhibited some really significant die clashing. All along here, you could see the jewels of the Queen's crown from the opposite, from the obverse die clashing against the reverse die. Really, really cool. Not what we got here, though. Roll 46 gives us another 1964, another chance to get that extra water line, but we can see pretty clearly that this isn't it. But that might be our 10th 1964 in this hunt so far. Roll 47, we got another laureate portrait. This is going to be a 1964 once again. This is the last of the rolls I think that we've got here that were just kind of our typical run-of-the-mill rolls with newer coins. And we were fortunate to get a laureate portrait. These last 3, I think, might be our older rolls. So you never know. We got another chance for some older Queen Elizabeth and maybe even another King George VI. Roll 49, we're going to add at least one more laureate portrait, another 1964. Got a few more in here. I'll check in. We've just got one last roll to see if we find any other goodies. Roll 50, we're going to have at least one more goodie because we got a 1963 in the roll. It's kind of stuck to the one behind it there. And it's in pretty decent shape for 1963. Not too bad at all. And we're not done yet. Just a few coins back. Another 1964. And a really nice looking 1972 right behind it. Maybe an upgrade? Well, that box has been hunted, and I thought at the outset it might be an interesting box, and it turns out it really was. It was a great box. First of all, we've never had this happen. We almost filled 3 nickel cups. I think we've come close to filling 1 before, and that would be a fantastic hunt. This is incredible. I've never seen so much. So I'm going to roll those up. A lot of you ask me what I do with my nickel. Right now, I'm just hoarding it, I suppose. I keep it, I roll it up. I actually sort it by year because that's just the kind of guy I am. But nickel is worth far more than face value. I just looked it up and on the coinapp.com website, and nickel in Canada is going for about 14 cents per nickel. So it's almost triple face value. So at some point, I might sell this if there's a market for that. But for now anyway, I'm just going to hold on to it. So let's take a look at what we got. We got a whole bunch of finds here, and we'll go through those really quickly. We got a dime. That's great. We got only 3 American nickels, a really nice looking 1977 you see there, and this 1983. And recall that 1983 was the year the US Mint didn't put out mint sets, so it's hard to get these in nice condition. This was pretty nice. In the 60s, we actually got 29 laureate portraits. We got one 1960, a couple of 61s, two 1962s, neither of them is the double date. We got 8 1963s, and we got 16 1964s. Again, no extra waterline. We got a couple in the 50s. These are our oldest ones of the hunt. We have a laureate portrait 1959, Queen Elizabeth, and we got a 1950 King George VI. That's pretty awesome. Now, in our errors and varieties and key dates, we got two 1970s, low mint key dates. We got one 1991, that's a low mintage. And we got that 1990 bare belly. That was pretty awesome. And I have a whole bunch of other things here we want to just check against the album. We got a lot of copper and a lot of copper nickel to look through. They weren't all in great condition necessarily. That's why they're in the nickel cup for the most part. But there are some that could potentially upgrade our album. So we'll take a look next and see what, if any, we can get into our beautiful Lighthouse Vista nickel album. Okay, I've gone through all of the nickels that I've got and we've compared it all into our Lighthouse Vista album. We weren't able to add anything new today. We already had that 1950, but we made some great additions here. In fact, we made some wholesale changes to our 1980s. We actually replaced the 80, the 81, the 82, I'll try to get in a little closer, the 83, the 85, the 86, and on the other page, the 87 and the 89. And I think we also upgraded the 95. In total, we upgraded 10 coins, which is really incredible considering I thought this album was already looking great before today. So we still have some spots we need to fill. We still want some King George VI, lots of spaces, so we still have a ways to go, but this album is looking really great. This was actually a really fun hunt. I hope you agree. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, Catarrhal Hunter, please do so. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again next time.